Okay, my mom's house, my car, Lyanna car, my car, 2 boats. That's just 2 boats. That is $635K, yeah.
The big issue I have is with Travis Hunter. What in God's name would make you think that that's a good thing?
Travis Hunter was flaunting his fortune online as if he had endless funds before all of this bankruptcy mess became out. Expensive vehicles, high-end fashion, and lavish vacations. He ensured that everyone see his way of life. But now that Stephen A. Smith has entered the fray, everyone pays attention when he calls you out.
Listens.
You're about to go into the National Football League. That's what you're about to do. You're about to get paid. In my eyes, this should be your most selfish time. You need to think about the...
He scolded Travis publicly for his careless spending and dubious financial choices that don't match up. Yes, some claim that his wife's scandal may have set off the fire, but Stephen A. is very clear about it. Travis is still held accountable. He made the decisions. The checks were signed by him. He now has to cope with it.
I don't believe that about Lyanna 1 second. And I don't want to hear anything about anything that she may have done years ago. She's a young lady. Come on, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? She ain't some seasoned grown woman who's experienced and living her life and, you know, manipulating things. And she's a young lady. Mistakes happen.
What exactly went wrong with Travis Hunter's financial maneuvers then? What role does his wife play in the mess? We should run it back. Not every rookie was Travis Hunter. He was the Jacksonville Jaguars' golden kid, selected first overall in the NFL draft of 2025, hailed as a talent that transcends generations. This man was unique. He was Colorado's best wide receiver and cornerback. Not since Charles Woodson in 1997 have we witnessed such a thing. And here's the thing. Hunter had already made history at the age of 22, winning the Heisman Trophy in December 2024. He had a gold stamp for his future. Then the big money arrived. A $46-65 million 4-year rookie contract with a $30-96 million signing bonus. Travis had it all from the outside looking in. The notoriety, the paychecks, the future legacy. Dark clouds were rapidly gathering behind those Instagram posts and highlight reels. Lynn, his wife, enters the picture at that point. Now, she is the focus of rumors regarding Travis's financial collapse. According to reports, his fortune was quickly depleted by her scandals and her reported demands for an extravagant lifestyle. We're talking luxurious residences, private planes, and expensive shopping sprees. The kind of spending that quickly depletes millions of dollars. All of a sudden, his bank accounts appeared to be as dry as the middle of the desert. And now that Travis is the target of Stephen A. Smith's criticism, this is more than just idle rumors. It's true, when Stephen A. criticizes your finances and personal life, he doesn't do it lightly. It indicates that the entire thing has escalated from embarrassing to hazardous. For Travis Hunter, poor financial practices aren't the only factor contributing to this financial downfall. It has to do with his relationships, his personal decisions, and the individuals he allowed to have an impact on his business. At first glance, Stephen A. Smith's analysis of Travis Hunter's marriage may seem to be a defense of the couple, but take a deeper look. In fact, he has been one of Hunter's harshest opponents, particularly about the financial catastrophe that results from getting married without a prenuptial agreement in the worlds of sports and finance. From the beginning, that move was viewed as blatantly reckless. Neon was glowing on the caution signs. However, Travis decided to pursue love rather than safeguard his stuff, just like a lot of young athletes who suddenly become millionaires. He disregarded all of the warning signs that were present. According to reports, Travis and Lyanna got married in May 2025 without ever completing a prenuptial agreement. Financial analysts are now shook their heads in shock. Travis essentially handed Lyanna the keys to half of his empire without that. Legal protection in case the marriage failed. Consider it. This young man suddenly touched tens of millions after struggling in college. However, he chose to enter into a marriage arrangement that left him vulnerable to being cheated out rather than securing his fortune. That is liability, not affection. The prenuptial scandal was only the beginning. Travis went on a crazy shopping spree and the largest flex after his huge NFL contract, spending nearly $600,000 on opulent cars only for Lyanna. At the wedding reception, he presented her with the Crown Gem, a special black Mercedes-Benz AMG 63 Brabus 800 valued at over $200,000. The pair didn't slow down at all. They increased their standard of living even further, a $3.275 million mansion inside a gated neighborhood in Jacksonville was the first. A few weeks later, they acquired a 7.5-acre estate with 13 rooms and 7 bedrooms. We're talking about an unlimited amount of luxury that shouted nothing but extravagant extravagance, including a tennis court, pool, and 4-car garage. Travis also piled up even more costly indulgences, spent over $20,000 on a Turks and Caicos honeymoon, not including airfare expenses, and spent $100,000 on an engagement ring. His decisions were being cited by financial advisors nationwide as blatant evidence of careless spending. Additionally, Stephen A. Smith, who has a career in both sports analysis and alerting sportsmen to financial scams, continued to criticize Travis's choices on a variety of forums. Alarms were raised by other specialists as well. James Stone, a well-known divorce lawyer, went so far as to openly offer free prenuptial agreements to all 2025 NFL draft picks, citing Travis's predicament as the ideal illustration of what not to do. Online discussion around Lyanna, meanwhile, began to heat up, citing dubious facts like the $sign tattoo she wears on her ring finger or the fact that she supposedly ignored Travis's approaches until his football career took off. Many accused her of being a gold digger. Suspicions that she was more interested in his bank account than his emotions were stoked by her love of receiving pricey presents. Furthermore, the reality is harsh when you examine the actual data. According to Travis's own admission, he quickly spent over $635,000. That included a long list of frills that no rookie income could possibly provide, such as $300,000 for his mother's house, over $250,000 for cars for him and Lyanna, and almost $80,000 for boats. The timing is the most concerning aspect of this entire story. Travis Hunter was not an NFL veteran with years of wealth and stacked contracts. He had not yet played a single professional snap as a rookie. He was spending like he had endless money and placing all of his bets on future profits that may be quickly lost due to an injury, poor play, or simply uncontrollable events. Having spent decades observing athletes rise and fall, Stephen A. Smith was well aware of how brittle an NFL career can be. This wasn't only about short-term financial difficulties, he said. It had to do with the risky behaviors Travis was developing. Before he proved himself, he spent like a rock star and set a standard of living that was almost hard to meet. Those identical behaviors were creating the foundation for a long-term catastrophe, the kind that might make Travis just another depressing example of a gifted person's potential being wasted in the cruel world of professional sports. Travis couldn't have benefited more from Smith's advice to guard your finances and be selective about who you allow into your social circle. He was already under a lot of strain from having to pay for Lyanna's extravagant lifestyle. Every significant career decision he had to make had the risk of being impacted by her costly demands. Every careless swipe of his card, every disregarded warning, every snap decision that prioritized short-term glory above long-term survival made it feel like a runaway locomotive with no brakes, gaining speed. Indeed, Stephen A. would soon lash out with some of his most biting criticism to date, bringing Travis to ruin as only he can. In December 2024, when Travis Hunter should have been living his best life, the actual unraveling began. He became the first real two-way player since Charles Woodson in 1997 and the first player to win the Heisman Trophy on December 14th, mostly as a wide receiver. The culmination of his talent and hard work, this moment should have been nothing short of legendary. However, rather than being a time for pure joy, that evening served as the impetus for a scandalous wave that would jeopardize his finances and personal life. The first warning sign appeared at the ceremony when Lyanna's clumsy response to Travis's significant victory was captured on tape. She did not leap to her feet to applaud. She didn't look proud. Rather, she only remained seated until Coach Deion Sanders had to prod her to get up. Instantly becoming viral, that video ignited severe criticism and unending conjecture regarding her commitment. It looked awful, awful. That indifferent moment at the Heisman was only the prelude to the mayhem that would ensue. In a matter of days, Lyanna's old films and pictures began to appear online, shattering the perception of her as the loyal and helpful spouse. Then, when a YouTuber revealed in a shocking video that Lyanna had worked at an Atlanta strip club while she was in her late teens, around the ages of 18 or 19, Messi's situation reached a whole new level. The accusations also implied that she might have worked in establishments that required bartenders to be at least 21 years old, which strongly contradicted her long-held claim that she never danced and only bartended. The rumors about her history suddenly turned into receipts rather than mere rumors, and Travis Hunter's flawless story couldn't have come at a worse time. The accusations against Lyanna had a swift and severe financial impact. A player's marketability is crucial in the NFL today. Brand partnerships, sponsorships, and endorsements all rely on one's image. Therefore, the aftermath from a controversy involving your relationship might be extremely costly. With Travis Hunter, as the next golden face of their advertisements, big-name brands abruptly hit the brakes. No one wanted to stake their reputation on an uncontrollably raging storm, and that was only the beginning, according to the stripper. Before long, a series of harmful videos began to circulate online. Lyanna is purportedly shown twerking at parties, making out with other males, and even responding to reportedly sly link messages in clips from 2020 and 2021. The most shocking release, however, was of Snapchat footage from around 2021 that seemed to show her having sex with another man. It was untidy, went viral, and completely upended the narrative. Defenders attempted to intervene by claiming that part of this content occurred prior to her and Travis's actual relationship, but the timelines didn't match up exactly, which only served to heighten the rumors. Was she truly faithful? Was the partnership ever enduring? It was ripped apart piece by piece by the internet. There were never-ending arguments and conspiracy theories concerning what was staged and what was real. There was no denying the financial harm. A budding NFL star could have made hundreds of thousands or possibly millions of dollars through sponsorships and sponsored posts on Instagram, but Travis shut his account due to the overwhelming negative feedback. He essentially destroyed one of his largest side businesses just when he needed money flowing in by cutting himself off from social media. Travis, however, remained tall in public despite the mayhem, protecting Lyanna from the storm. His emotional defense demonstrated the extent to which this controversy affected both of their lives, demonstrating that it was more than just a financial issue. It was raw, intimate, and tearing him to pieces. All of this revealed a young man who makes money by acting from his heart rather than his intellect. While Lyanna was dealing with serious accusations, Travis was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to make her happy. And a businessman defending his empire wouldn't think that way. That's what someone who is on the verge of losing everything thinks. When rumors began to circulate that Lyanna might be pregnant, things became even more complicated. Travis might have been forced into an entirely new degree of long-term financial commitment only because of that rumor. A potential child on the way, constant scandals, and no prenuptial agreement. It was a surefire prescription for catastrophe. And Travis was left exposed with no shield in sight. Furthermore, Stephen A. Smith was no longer the only one setting off alerts. Other opinions from the sports community began to be heard. Travis was being openly urged to leave by former NFL players like Des Bryant and Boozy. They made it quite evident to him that he was jeopardizing his financial security and career for Behi, someone whose allegiance was already in doubt.
Type, I did not mean attractiveness. I don't have a physical type, period. No two men that I previously dated look the same. My first one was a white cowboy. Second one was a Mexican soccer player. Then I dated a black man who was a SoundCloud rapper. And then Travis. So I have...
Here's the worst part, though. Even though the pandemonium had become worse, it was still getting worse. In addition to the millions Travis had already amassed, the ultimate financial nightmare threatened to destroy every single dollar he would ever make in the NFL. Even Stephen A., who has spent years watching athletes fail, was astounded.
And Travis sat in my DM for 2 months is because he DM'd me when he had a girlfriend. And her name was in his bio, so I instantly knew he had a partner. So I exited the message and he sat there until he was single. I don't do home wrecking. I'm not a side piece. I don't stand for any of those things. I support women. So I would never do that to another woman.
By how quickly Travis Hunter went from having boundless potential to standing on the brink of total ruin due to the scandals, careless spending, and emotional decision-making that were all combining to create a perfect storm. It was clear that Travis Hunter's trajectory was a ticking time bomb by the time the financial and athletic worlds began raising alarms throughout the business. Since the beginning of his career, the warning flags had been blinking, but now they had fully exploded, and experts said you had to go all the way back to the beginning of his relationship with Lynn in order to truly comprehend how quickly his empire fell apart, since the warning signs were already there. There was a lot of controversy around their early timeline, particularly after it was revealed that Travis had been ignoring Lyanna's direct messages for 2 months in 2020. When the public's attention turned back to that detail, Lyanna attempted to dismiss it with what detractors referred to be a convenient one. It just raised more questions about her true motivations. Every contradiction in her story was seized upon by critics. How did she study Travis's behavior well enough to pinpoint the exact moment he became unattached, even while she maintained she had no genuine interest in him and that he wasn't her type? Fans weren't buying it, and that didn't. This only strengthened rumors that Lyanna might have been holding off on making a move until Travis's career took off and his notoriety increased. Lyanna later defended herself by stating that she was referring to human traits rather than appearances when she indicated he wasn't her type. Nevertheless, the discrepancies, the time, and the justifications created a jumbled image. Critics stated it appeared to be more of a tactic than a love story. Things proceeded quickly when Travis Hunter and Lyanna eventually locked in early 2022, very quickly. When they officially joined Instagram in March, Travis had already begun giving her extravagant presents. His Nile worth was skyrocketing at the time of his move to Colorado, making him one of the most desirable and marketable names in college. Football, how
Get her to do. I don't have to decide I know I don't have to defend myself to no clowns. I'm not defending myself. I'm defending my girl. Cause she's not gonna get on here and talk. She just hurt. You know, she upstairs because she been crying all day. You know, cause people trying to attack her character. Like, they don't know her. They ain't never talked to her before. So I'm gonna protect my girl.
However, many people weren't comfortable with that timing. Experts in finance couldn't help but notice how Travis's increasing income and Lyanna's sudden interest seemed to go hand in hand. The red signs simply kept piling up, and the correlation was too strong to ignore. The alarms were only heightened by additional information regarding their early relationship.
It ain't about the money, chat. It's about the girl you have with you. She brings value to me. She makes me money, and she makes her own money. So if we gonna say she a gold digger, make sure you say I'm a gold digger too. Make sure you say I'm using her too, because she got money. She been had money.
That statement exposed.
Without hesitation, Travis acknowledged that he spent about $635,000 in an absurdly short amount of time. The way he nonchalantly discussed spending that much money astonished even his most devoted followers, demonstrating not only inexperience but also a complete lack of care for financial planning. The pattern behind those spending was what made it more worse. Nearly everything had something to do with Lyanna or their connection. Travis paid for her luxurious lifestyle, which included fancy cars, frequent travel, and lavish living. Only a few months after agreeing to one of the largest rookie NFL contracts ever, Travis was reportedly experiencing severe cash flow issues by the beginning of 2025. According to sources, he was essentially living paycheck to paycheck while being a multimillionaire because his outflow was severely reducing his inflow. The claims that Lyanna was a gold digger peaked in late 2024 and early 2025. Additionally, Travis's public defense of her demonstrated his debt. 2008, according to experts, it exposed a young man who was utterly unaware of the clear warning signs and was either unwilling or unable to see the reality, placing his finances, stability, and future all on the line. Travis's attempt to stand up for Lyanna backfired. He acknowledged that she helps pay his bills in an attempt to clear her name, which only made matters. 1745. The disturbing truth that their relationship had devolved into a transaction was revealed by that statement. Money was more than a benefit. It was a component of what held them together. The big stunner came next. In August 2025, there were rumors that a divorce would be imminent. There were rumors that Lyanna was already planning for a possible community that would number in the astronomical range. Travis was in danger of losing half of everything since he had no prenuptial agreement, bonuses, his NFL contract income, and any remaining wealth. Years of arduous work could be undone in an instant by a single legal dispute. Their relationship's timeline presented an even more tangled picture. From Lyanna abandoning Travis for 2 months in 2020 to unexpectedly entertaining him as his wealth began to increase to the barrage of presents when his NIL value exploded, their engagement came at the ideal moment as he joined the NFL. Everything shouted calculated. Without hesitation, financial experts pointed out the pattern, stating that it appeared as though the individual was well aware of the financial implications and was setting up their position to take full advantage of his achievement. The alarm was raised by financial advisors and veterans. Expensive automobiles, diamonds, and extravagant lifestyle demands are common when a relationship first begins, and they don't go away. They only become larger. Additionally, Travis had placed himself in a vicious cycle from which it was very impossible to break. The Jaguars, however, were growing anxious behind the scenes. Although the squad publicly supported its star rookie, coaches and insiders acknowledged in private that they were concerned. Inconsistencies in Travis's methods, mental blunders, and careless mistakes that were completely out of character for his college prowess were reported. His flawless success posts on social media were giving way to unpredictable displays of luxury and interpersonal conflict, which were clear signs of a guy under stress. Then there was stillness. Travis Hunter remained silent for weeks while chaos simmered behind the scenes, attempting to maintain a tenuous facade of normalcy. Legal professionals noted that his financial issues were no longer only related to careless overspending. The prospective legal responsibilities resulting from Lyanna's scandals, lawsuits, threats, and the crippling expense of defending even the most tenuous accusations had now entangled them. According to some stories, advisors were even subtly advising him to think about filing for bankruptcy in order to restructure his debt and shield himself from the potential financial catastrophe that a divorce settlement may bring. There is no greater irony. Before reaching 23, this young man earned tens of millions, now facing the prospect of losing everything, not due to mishaps or poor financial decisions, but rather to individual decisions involving a single relationship. Decisions that he may have avoided with careful preparation and wise counsel. The fact that the warning flags had been obvious from the beginning just added to the tragedy. Her early remark that he wasn't her type, the delayed answers to his messages, the abrupt change once his money began to come in, and the quick deluge of presents. Those around him had been yelling about all of these warning signs. Nevertheless, Travis persisted, disregarding knowledgeable advisors and putting himself in danger of financial ruin. One of the sport's most promising rising stars is now in danger of collapsing, leaving the world to watch. It was the cruelty of his own choices, not the cruelty of the game, a love story that might end up being one of the most messy, cautionary tales in NFL history, with a career and riches on the line. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts on this crazy tale if you liked this video. Of course, if you want to view additional content, click one of the boxes on your screen right now. I'll see you in the next.